Every year, millions of Americans do the same thing. They schedule their annual checkup. They sit on the exam table. They wait for the doctor to say,
"Everything looks fine."
And most of the time, that's exactly what they hear. But sometimes, the doctor pauses.
Not long. Just long enough.
And then comes a sentence that sounds harmless, but isn't. Your creatinine is a little higher than last year.
No pain. No emergency. Just higher.
So you do what most reasonable people do.
You think back to your habits. I don't smoke. I don't drink much. I eat clean. Chicken. Fish. Proteinshakes. Milk at night.
You're doing everything right. And yet, something inside your body is quietly struggling. Here's the part no one tells you. Your kidneys don't fail loudly.
They don't send sharp pain. They don't wake you up screaming.
They fade, silently. And for many people over 50, the damage doesn't start during the day.
It starts at night.
While you're asleep. While you think your body is resting. While you believe your healthy routine is protecting you. Tonight, I want to talk about a habit millions of well-intentioned people have. A habit that looks healthy on the surface, but may be putting hidden pressure on your kidneys every single night. Not to scare you.
Not to blame protein.
But to help you hear a conversation your body has been trying to have with you. Long before serious damage appears. Most people believe something very simple.
When you sleep, your body shuts down. And everything inside you gets a break.
Your muscles rest.
Your mind resets. Your heart slows down.
So it's natural to assume your kidneys do the same.
But they don't.
Your kidneys never truly stop working. They filter your blood around the clock, every single day of your life. What does change at night is how much strength they have to do that job.
As we get older, the body begins to conserve energy when we sleep. Blood flow slows slightly.
Metabolic activity drops. And the kidneys shift into a lower power mode. Think of it this way. During the day, your kidneys are like a full daytime crew at a water treatment plant. Plenty of workers. Plenty of energy. Problems get handled quickly. At night, that same plant runs on a skeleton crew.
Still working.
But with far less margin for error. Now here's where most people get caught off guard. Anything your body needs to process while you sleep takes longer to clear. Waste products stay in the bloodstream longer. Extra load stays in the kidneys longer. And if you're over 50, your kidneys don't bounce back the way they used to. This isn't disease. It's biology. And it matters because of what we often give our bodies late in the evening.
A protein, heavy dinner. A glass of milk before bed.
A protein shake because muscle loss is bad after 60. All of that may sound reasonable. But to your kidneys at night, it can feel like extra weight placed on tired hands.
Not enough to cause pain.
Not enough to trigger an alarm.
Just enough to slowly wear the system down.
That's why kidney stress doesn't announce itself.
It accumulates.
Quietly.
Night after night.
Year after year. And by the time lab numbers change, the process has often been happening far longer than anyone realizes. At this point, it's important to say something clearly. Protein is not the enemy. In fact, protein is essential, especially as we get older. It helps preserve muscle.
It supports strength. It protects independence.
So if you've been told to eat more protein after 50, that advice didn't come out of nowhere. The problem isn't that we eat protein. The problem is when, how, and what kind. Because protein is not just nutrition.
It's also work.
Every gram you eat has to be broken down.
Filtered. Processed. Cleared.
And that work falls heavily on your kidneys. Here's where many well-meaning habits quietly turn into long-term pressure. Take someone who eats responsibly all day.
Light breakfast. Balanced lunch. Then dinner comes. A larger portion of meat. Something comforting. Something familiar.
And maybe later in the evening.
A glass of milk. A slice of cheese. A protein bar, just to be safe.
None of these choices are extreme. They don't feel excessive. They feel healthy. But stacked together, late in the day, they create a pattern.
Not a spike. A steady load. Night after night.
Your kidneys don't experience protein as good or bad. They experience it as demand. And when that demand arrives at the exact time your kidneys are operating at reduced capacity, even healthy foods can become stressors. This is why two people can eat the same foods and only one develops kidney strain.
It's not willpower. It's timing. It's age.
It's physiology. And it's why the goal is not to remove protein from your life, but to use it strategically, in a way that supports your body instead of quietly overloading it. In the next part, we'll look at specific types of protein that tend to create the most pressure at night. Not to scare you away from them, but to help you understand which choices deserve more caution as the years go on. Not all protein affects your kidneys the same way. Some types are easier to process. Some create far more waste. And some quietly strain the kidneys most when eaten late in the day. Let's walk through the 4 categories that tend to cause the most nighttime stress. Not because they're bad, but because timing and quantity matter more than most people realize. The first category is dense animal protein eaten late in the evening.
Red meat.
Large portions of poultry. Heavy, protein-centered dinners close to bedtime. These foods require more breakdown. They produce more nitrogen-based waste. And when eaten at night, that waste stays in circulation longer, while the kidneys are operating at reduced capacity. During the day, your body can usually handle it. At night, especially after 50, the margin gets thinner. The second category is dairy-based protein that feels harmless.
A glass of milk before bed.
Cheese as a snack.
Creamy comfort foods at night.
Dairy contains protein that digests slowly, along with minerals like phosphorus that place extra demand on kidney filtration. Again, not a problem once in a while. But when it becomes a nightly routine, the kidneys feel the load. The third category is processed protein products.
Cold cuts. Bacon. Sausage.
Convenient, familiar, and common in American households. These foods don't just contain protein. They often carry hidden sodium and added phosphorus compounds. Substances that increase fluid retention and raise filtration pressure inside the kidneys. Over time, that pressure matters. The fourth category surprises many people. Protein supplements consumed at night.
Proteinshakes. Bars.
Powders meant to protect muscle. These products deliver concentrated protein quickly, often far more than the body can use while you're asleep. Muscle doesn't rebuild efficiently at night without movement. So the excess doesn't become strength. It becomes work for your kidneys. None of this means you've been doing something wrong. It means the rules change as the body ages. What worked at 35 doesn't always work at 60. And what feels like discipline can sometimes become strain, if timing isn't considered.
The good news is this.
Once you understand where the pressure comes from, you can reduce it without giving up protein altogether.
And that's important.
Because before real kidney problems show up on lab tests, your body usually sends subtle signals. Signals most people don't recognize. That's what we'll talk about next. One of the hardest things about kidney stress is this. It rarely announces itself clearly. There's no sharp pain. No dramatic moment that tells you something is wrong. Instead, the signs show up quietly, blended into everyday life. Many people first notice it in the morning. They wake up feeling heavier than usual.
Not sick. Just sluggish.
Their legs feel stiff. Their ankles look slightly puffy. Shoes fit a little tighter than they used to. They brush it off as age.
Or poor sleep.
Or just getting older. Others notice it in their energy. They sleep 7 or 8 hours, but still feel foggy when the day begins.
Concentration comes slower.
Motivation feels muted. Again, nothing alarming. Just not quite right. Then there are the signs people hesitate to talk about. Occasional foamy urine.
Not every day. Not dramatic.
Just enough to notice, and then ignore. Some experience more frequent nighttime urination. Others wake with dry mouth or lingering thirst. Individually, none of these symptoms mean much. But together, they form a pattern. A pattern that often appears long before blood tests raise red flags.
This is how the body works. It whispers first.
It warns quietly.
It gives you time.
Kidney stress doesn't mean kidney failure. It means your kidneys are working harder than they should. Often at the exact time they're least equipped to do so.
And the reason these signs matter
is because they're not asking for drastic action. They're asking for adjustment.
Small changes. Better timing.
Less pressure at night. In the next part, we'll talk about how to make those changes. Without giving up protein.
Without complicated rules. And without turning your routine upside down.
By now, one thing should feel clear. Protecting your kidneys doesn't require drastic change. It doesn't mean cutting protein out of your life. And it definitely doesn't mean living in fear of food. It's about timing and balance. The first adjustment is simple. Move your main protein intake earlier in the day. Your kidneys are strongest in the morning and early afternoon. That's when your body is best equipped to handle heavier work.
A protein-rich breakfast or lunch
Is far easier on your system
than the same amount late at night.
The second adjustment is about choosing lighter protein options as the day winds down. Not all protein creates the same workload. Options like egg whites, white fish, or moderate portions of plant-based protein tend to produce less waste
and place less strain on nighttime filtration.
They still nourish your body without overloading your kidneys when they're trying to slow down. The third adjustment may be the most powerful.
Give your kidneys a break in the evening.
That doesn't mean skipping dinner. It means shifting the focus. More cooked vegetables. Simple carbohydrates in reasonable portions.
Less salt.
Less density. Think of dinner not as fuel for work, but as preparation for rest. These changes don't show results overnight, but they change the direction. Instead of adding pressure every night, you begin to remove it. And when pressure goes down, the body often responds in quiet but meaningful ways.
Better mornings. Less puffiness. Clearer thinking.
These aren't promises. They're possibilities. And they come from working with your body, not against it. There's one more reason this matters, especially after 50. Because kidney health isn't just about numbers on a lab report. It's about something far more personal. As we get older, health starts to mean something different. It's no longer about running faster or lifting more weight. It's about staying independent, driving yourself to appointments,
traveling when you want, waking up in your own home, on your own terms.
Kidney health plays a bigger role in that freedom than most people realize. When kidneys are under constant stress,
energy fades faster, recovery slows,
and medical decisions begin to replace personal choices. No one plans for that. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens gradually, through small compromises that add up over time. But the opposite is also true. When you reduce unnecessary strain on your kidneys, you're not just protecting an organ. You're protecting your routine,
your independence,
your ability to say, I'm still in control. That's why the adjustments we've talked about matter. Not because they're dramatic, but because they're sustainable. They fit into real life. Family dinners.
Social habits.
The rhythms you've built over decades. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be aware.
And when you listen to your body early, you give yourself something incredibly valuable later. Options.
The body is remarkably patient. It doesn't demand attention right away. It doesn't panic at the first sign of strain. It adapts.
It compensates. It waits.
Your kidneys are a perfect example of that patience. They keep working quietly, even when the load becomes heavier than it should be. The question isn't whether your body can handle stress. The question is how long it should have to.
The small choices you make in the evening.
The habits that feel harmless. The routines you've repeated for years. They matter more than most people realize.
And the good news is this. You don't need fear to protect your health.
You need awareness. If something in this video felt familiar,
not alarming, just familiar,
that's often the body's way of asking to be heard. So tonight, and in the nights ahead, consider giving your kidneys a little less work when they need rest the most. If you found this helpful, consider sharing it with someone you care about. And if you'd like to learn more about simple evening meals that support kidney health, foods to be mindful of after 6 p.m., or early signs worth paying attention to as you age,
leave a comment below.
Thank you for spending these minutes with me. Your health doesn't disappear overnight. And with the right awareness, neither does your independence.